Lovecraft Country episode 5 breakdown. Hello there, international movie friends. Thank you again for watching. We're gonna break down now the 5th episode of Lovecraft Country, named A Strange Case. Just like last week, maybe there wasn't that much in this episode when it comes to references, but there's enough to talk about at least. So we're gonna do that, and of course the references that were in there, we will talk about those ones. For those who are new to our channel, we break down, recap, review each week all the Lovecraft Country episodes. So if you want to stay updated on Lovecraft Country, subscribe to our channel, please. Then we're gonna dive in now to the breakdown, guys. Strange Case. It's right away a reference to the Strange Case of Dr. Jekkel and Dr. Hyde. Old story. And this is a story of a person with two sides, of course. So that's something that already foreshadows what this story is all about. Because we can see that, of course, in this episode with William, with Ruby, with Montrose, with Tick, at least, they all have two sides to them. Funny thing, because in the beginning when I saw this episode, I was trying to figure out, okay, which kind of genre is this? Because each episode has its genre or its theme, of course, as we talked about last week. Apparently, this episode has the body horror theme. And this is now I'm gonna more or less Wikipedia phrase, but it's a subgenre of horror that intentionally showcases graphic or psychologically disturbing violations of the human body. The violations may manifest throughout of the ordinary sex, mutations, zombification, uncalled for violence, disease, or unnatural movements of the body. And then examples of body horror movies are, for example, David Cronenberg's The Fly, which is a great movie. I love that movie. And that's a subgenre of horror, and that's apparently what this episode was based on. We start here, guys, with Ruby waking up. We have this white woman, Dell, who we know from the second episode as the guardian of the tower in episode 2.
I did understand the way they what they want to tell about that you can turn into another body with another skin. That I found that a really nice way to tell a story, which shoots also really this series.
Yeah.
But what I didn't get yet is why they pick this Dell character from the second episode. What did you guys think about it?
No, I have to be honest. I didn't realize. I was thinking when I saw her, I thought like I know that actress from somewhere. Yeah. Where did I see her? Where did I see her before? It was only after the episode that I figured out.
Oh really?
Oh yeah, that was her from episode 2.
Oh, okay. Well, I had actually the same. Yeah. And you, Colin?
Okay. Yeah, I know. I realized the moment she woke up, I realized it was her because I like her, but I don't know where I know her from other series or movies. But she made an impression on me in another show once or a movie, but I don't remember which one. That's why this is really weird because before I put the episode on, I thought, what can happen? I was philosophizing a bit like what's going to happen with this show, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, that woman with the dogs, that actress that I know from somewhere, she has to come back somehow, I thought.
Yeah.
And then the episode I was like, no fucking way. Like, really?
Yeah, and of course we already could see this coming because in the last episode, well, we couldn't see coming that what would be Dell, but that this would happen because in the last episode, Ruby said to William that she wanted, if I had your skin, then my life would be much more easier. And then he already said like, well, more or less gave a look, or he said like that can be worked out.
Yeah.
But what I was now thinking is like, okay, if we see Dell here, what does it mean if they transform into someone? Could it be that this Dell woman now is dead then? Or it doesn't that have to be per se? That's I'm curious how this transforming into someone works.
Yeah, I mean, can the other one also then ask for a transformation? But she was really racist and didn't seem to desire for another being, and especially not a black human being. And Ruby had a desire to get a career and chances in society.
Yeah.
But Dell was not an example of that. So yeah, a lot of questions again.
Yeah, a lot of questions. I wonder if they dig into that, how it actually works, this transforming, because of course she gets a little bottle with some kind of serum in it. So is there the essence of that woman in it? Or
Yeah, that's maybe they collected it along the way or something. But
I'm not sure who gets.
Yeah, but it's also important to say she only turns from the outside, but her character stays exactly the same.
Yeah,
and also her. Well, the way she can dance and the way she can move and her
that was nice to see.
Her mimic was still Ruby.
Yeah, though of course at some point she starts almost a bit getting used to this white life. She gets a bit comfortable with it, also with the colleagues, until there is a remark from one of the colleagues that brings her back. But she almost gets into their camp at some point. I have the feeling
she's flirting with all the privileges.
Exactly, possibilities, privilege. Yeah.
And it seems she's really like. I found that really good about this theme they created with transforming into another color. That's the balance Black Americans have to, in one way, climb up and to get on the same level at the whites with when it comes to challenges in society, and the other hand, trying to help their own community to also make steps. You can see with Tamara, I think was her name, the character, the young employee at the mall. She really tries to help her with him balancing with all the cultural thoughts around her with her white colleagues. I think this dilemma actually in what can you say, what can you not say, I think that was really good worked out.
I think
you know what I mean? Or
I think so too. I think the balance is good. I found it also interesting that as soon as she started, like you said, she started flirting with the ID, and I think towards the end, but we are now jumping a bit ahead. But towards the end, you can see she makes her decision, more or less. But in the beginning, she is more or less taking the forbidden fruit because she keeps drinking from it. She doesn't want to let it go, this privilege. But interesting dynamics.
She was, I think, really curious how. And it was also really. Allowed this curiosity because it was explained really well why she was so curious and what she was curious about, and maybe you can also say it was from a white perspective also interesting to see the dilemma in how you balance with what you say and what do you say not. But I don't know, that's maybe a different interpretation, but when she talks with Tamara, because you see
you have to be on the toes, of course, to see, like, I cannot show you too much empathy, maybe because white people in that time shouldn't do that, so she's struggling also with that a bit to find the balance.
Exactly, that she has to dosate it step by step.
And be clever about it, actually. Yeah.
But okay, so we see this. We see then that Ruby gets into the city. She bumps into this.
Great acting here, by the way. How she?
She's a great actress.
Acts the creep.
Yeah.
Or the weirdo.
Yeah. So she bumps into this boy, this black boy. Then this is of course right away another example of institutional systemic racism.
Yeah.
Right away they get the boy blaming him for it. This is something interesting. I saw. It was just a brief shot. We got this shot twice on these people, but I have the feeling this woman that we see here to the right, that is the same actress that plays the ancestor of Tick.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but I didn't mention it, and you mention it. You see all these little details all the time with the boots, and also this shot. Well,
yeah.
I find it her ancestor. So I think that's the ancestors looking from a distance on what's happening there, or something like a commentary like that. So maybe we can assume that this then is his grandfather or something. But maybe I'm completely wrong. But I'm pretty sure this is the same actress.
Could be a reference that this is like a symbolic scene of generations struggling against the same problem. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I found it interesting.
Could be an interpretation.
I found out, by the way, in the meantime, the woman we're talking about, Dell, her name is Jamie Newman, the actress.
Yeah.
And I know her from The Looming Tower from Amazon. It's one of the best series they made.
Okay.
She plays a CIA or FBI agent there. All right. That's why. Yeah. Also very good she plays there. So it's upcoming big.
We go into, you ever see Ruby in the car? This is the scene with the cops. Here we hear a song playing. It's the song Tonight You Belong to Me by Patience and Prudence, apparently. See here in the house, the Williams scene was American Psycho, really American Psycho style, the way he was dressed and with the plastic and with the knife. There must have been a reference to that movie because it was almost too alike.
Exactly. The only thing missing was him, like really cynical, doing weird stuff and moving. And
exactly.
Whatever,
yeah. So
that was a TV journal was on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we got here
about Locust and.
Yeah, but we got him talking about something about Cermak Road and Cicero Avenue. I have looked into it. I couldn't find anything about Cicero or I could think there's some Greek mythology to Cicero or Roman, but I couldn't find anything that would connect per se to this thematic or this series. But Cermak Road was named after Democratic politician Anton Cermak. He was mayor of Chicago from 1931 to 1933, and he was shot and killed in 1933 by an assassin who was aiming for President Franklin Roosevelt. And Cermak was a Czech immigrant credited with creating a multi-ethnic democratic political coalition that included formerly Republican African Americans. So apparently he was a fighter for the cause. So I guess that's why they made this reference to Cermak Road. If I would have to pick something there, that's this one. Well, like I said, American-born Greek soprano Maria Callas and the opera Norma. I couldn't find anything about it which makes sense to connect to this episode. The thematics of Norma didn't seem for me to connect to this, and Maria Callas, I also couldn't find anything about that would connect to the thematics. So people watching, if you know if this is a reference to something, let us know. Then this one is a quite interesting one. We hear a message, breaking news, a swarm of 16 million Kenyan locusts are moving across North Africa with Great Britain in their crosshairs. Scientists say locust nymphs hatch from eggs, and they will go through 5 molting stages where they will shed their skin and develop their wings. After 7 days, they will reach full sexual maturity as adult locusts, which is, of course, quite interesting if you see the thematics of this episode, which is, of course, about transformation. And, I felt like this is maybe mostly referring to Montrose when it comes to full sexual maturity, his sexual release, more or less. So that was interesting. And then, of course, it's also biblical, the locust's plague, so which could be connected to it, one of the 10 plagues. But then when I was researching a little bit more, I found an interesting article which was about apparently a locust plague in Kenya this year in February.
Oh my God.
And apparently the locust is normally a solitary animal, but there they grew out to become a swarm of billions. And this was the result of metamorphosis as well in behavior as in appearance. And I found an interesting quote from an expert in one of the articles, was expert Ariane Cease, and she actually called it the Dr. Jekkel and Mr. Hyde switch. So I thought, they must have pulled from this news article.
Exactly, nice.
Yeah, so apparently this is switch, and when the legs of the locust touch the other one's legs, it releases serotonin, and this causes them to morph. Their color changes and their muscle power gets bigger. Although it goes slowly, it can take 2 generations before they achieve their final form. But also their head changes in this period, and because of the large numbers, they destroy entire fields in Kenya. So I found it very cool subtext.
It's crazy, yeah.
To to find.
Really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So there we got some good backstory for what we're gonna see in the rest of the episode. Then we go into Montrose. We see here Tick beating up his father. It's quite brutal, right?
Yes. Yes.
A lot of anger, though.
Hard to watch.
Yeah, which is actually what is funny today or yesterday. Maybe we will dig into it later this week with a separate video. But the news came out that this actor, Jonathan Mayers is his name, I believe. He's gonna play the villain in Ant-Man 3, the Marvel movie Ant-Man 3.
Oh, wow.
He's cast as the villain. Well, in this episode, we could see a bit of his bad side, his rage side that he can also portray.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
He's pretty young to play a villain, though.
Yeah.
But of course, James Bond's also quite young, the man, of course. So
yeah. Apparently he's blue. This villain is supposed to be blue, I think, but I don't know. I have to read into it a bit more.
Okay.
Here we saw Ruby waking up, being herself again.
Next to the lovely Nancy.
Yeah, we see him here looking also at a canvas with dried butterflies.
Yeah. Here comes the scene with that he's taking out the caterpillars that become butterflies.
Yeah.
With his text, and I think the butterflies are flying in the room. Are they coming out of her belly? Right.
Yeah. Well, they're flying there. At least I'm not. I missed if they come out of her belly, but.
Yeah, I didn't know, and they let them out to the window, and for me it was not 100% clear what was now meant with that. I thought first it had to do maybe with love, but that I thought no, it has nothing to do with love because there's no really a relationship between them. So I didn't get it. You?
Well, it's transforming again, I think, because of course he says a butterfly lives a full life before it dies. Then a caterpillar emerges from the same cells, the essence of the butterfly, yet different.
That's symbolic. Yeah,
exactly.
That's symbolic.
Yeah. Because he then says, of course, I wanted to apply this process of metamorphosis to humans, but I was laughed at by the academic community until I met a disgraced professor named Hiram Epstein. He wanted nothing more than to understand the universe, but it was beyond his reach. So he created doorways, not scientific, but magical, though one could argue they are one and the same.
Yeah.
So that's, and I guess the portals, what he refers to is all those elevator things and stuff. So this is the scene where we see Ruby walking the streets as a white woman. We hear here.
Sorry to interrupt. It's funny to see, like, maybe it's just a shot, but it looks here like she's still adapting because she still stands a bit in a way like Ruby would do, you know? That's funny with the legs also.
Yeah.
Different pose.
Yeah.
Yeah, and very uncomfortable. It seems like, okay, she's uncomfortable walking around like this. So it seems. So but while she walks here, we hear the spoken word text that is apparently from a theater piece that's named For Colored Girls Who Have Considered Suicide / When the Rainbow is Enough. That's apparently what this spoken word text is from. We see her getting, of course, this was quite... symbolic, like as a white woman, she got all these privileges. Like she got here free ice cream, and she got to be reading the newspaper in the park without being bothered, which was, of course, in the 50s. The parks were also segregated.
You guys, by the way, think the red gloves mean anything?
Yeah, I don't know.
Match her outfit.
Yeah,
I don't know what it would
I don't know.
Yeah, I just remembered that it was red. I also thought then it was weird.
Yeah. Might be. People watching, if you know what this could refer to, let us know.
With the hands of the devil.
Symbolism it would be then, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. We see Letty talk to Tick that she didn't take the pictures of the pages, but that she did take pictures of the pages, but just didn't develop them yet. Then they have a little conversation about Tick's rage. And he says that he thought that his father's rage would never been within him, that he found it in the war. So that's also shows a bit again, like what we see in this whole episode, like the two sides of people, what they are struggling with also. Because Dick is clearly also struggling with those things. We then see them having sex. There's also a song being played here. Not sure if any of you guys know which song this is.
Yeah, I have it. It was the song Return to Love from Black Atlas.
Aha. Great scene, I think, also. You must have enjoyed it, Sven.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it.
Did you watch the episode alone, or?
Well, it was...
I was thinking about you when I saw it. My
was thinking about me. I was not thinking about you when I saw it.
No, I hope so. That's good for you.
But, being serious, I found it was for a love scene.
Definitely.
There was a lot of fire and passion. It was good done.
Yeah,
the body moves, and so not every sex scene is realistic enough.
Yeah.
Or classy enough also.
Classy enough.
Classy, nicely shot also. Yeah.
We come from the Netherlands. We have a big tradition of unclassy sex scenes. So.
Everything has to be naked.
Yeah. Okay, we see here Ruby in the bath.
The Nazi.
The bath, and then William tells her here that he will need a favor from her at some point, but that she more or less is free to use her powers now. In the scene, we also hear Ruby say, "I don't know what is more difficult, being colored or being a woman. Most days I'm happy to be both, but the world keeps interrupting, and I'm sick of being interrupted." It's quite an interesting line.
It's nice.
Because the word interrupted comes back later again.
Yeah. Sharp, Sven, sharp. Here you see Ruby then arriving as Miss Davenport to get hired at Marshall Field and Company. Also a song we have here. I'm not sure if anybody knows which song that was.
Money from Cardi B.
Also Cardi B, okay, because we hear later again. She of course starts transforming again during this talk. It's also quite creepy again, but just in time she can get into the elevator where she started all falling apart more or less.
You guys didn't feel like, okay, maybe it's cool to transform into someone, but every time you have to deal with all that crap and blood, like, it doesn't seem really efficient, Like
no, it's quite.
You walk down, so you're this white woman, and then you turn into this other woman who's black, and then you have all blood over you, and you're in a white neighborhood. What do you do then, also?
Yeah. It's maybe she must have really wanted it, because it doesn't seem like a pleasant sensation once it wears off.
Yeah. It's a very bad morning after,
Exactly. But this elevator, by the way, I presume that this is also another one of the portal elevators, so to say, that is connected to...
It has to be, otherwise, because that was my issue, but I will tell you later in the review, like, some things don't seem they're realistic, like the CGI with the transformation was super cool done.
Yeah.
I really props for that, but that's... What you said, you're in this white neighborhood where black people are really not considered to be in those times, and then you turn into a black woman again, and then with all blood. So in a normal case, they would take you to the crazy house or whatever. So it must have been an elevator with a portal, I hope.
Yeah, I guess so. Then we have this scene where we, of course, see Montrose and Sammy having sex, and we hear the song "Bad Religion" by Frank Ocean.
Yeah. Where the lyric are implicating their love, their status, their relationship status, I think. Because Sammy, I think, is in love with Montrose. And Montrose doesn't know yet he's in love and comes for something else. I think he also was hurted. Mentally because he was beaten up by his son, and this was his way to deal with it.
Yeah. You of course also see that they don't kiss here at the end. Sammy wants to kiss, but Montrose doesn't, which is important, of course, also for later in this episode. Then we have this first day at work for Miss Davenport, aka Ruby. She has a conversation with Tamara, the other black woman working at the store. Ruby, she seems to get a bit annoyed that she got the job without having any qualifications. That's at least how I took it. But
yeah, she also really asked for like, how did you get it on a whim or whatever? Like, yeah,
exactly. She finds it weird. So some kind of jealousy seems to be involved here.
Yeah.
She says while she walks away, your hands are a bit ashy. I'm not sure what that would mean or refer to.
I think that's slang from the south side.
Okay.
That's why I was Tamara was looking a bit surprised that.
Okay. Funny. Yeah. Okay. Well, I missed that vocabulary.
It's a bit ashy, bro.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we don't know this. Yeah.
Right. So later we see Miss Davenport and Ruby having a conversation with her white colleagues. Here they start dancing to a song, Tutti Frutti, and this is apparently the version that we hear here is the version by Pat Boone. This is a white musician, while the original song was by Little Richard, which is of course a black musician. But Pat Boone's version apparently ended up higher in the charts because it was considered safer for white homes.
My God, what a nonsense! Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I hope Little Richard got his money once.
Yeah, it's
royalties.
Yeah.
But what I found good about this scene is, the two worlds you see that she is in and that she is balancing in with. She just came from Tamara, and then she comes to this conversation, and she's in both conversations really uncomfortable. And checking out and discovering her new role, and also what people are thinking and how she has to deal with that. And what I liked is that she is dancing on this song and that they are really impressed by her dancing.
Yeah, exactly. We immediately said, go on that show and whatever,
Yeah.
You guys see, by the way, in the background.
And what I also like is that they really want to go out to the south side to have a.
Yeah.
Actually, they are actually also intrigued by by the other human beings in their own country, which they consider as lower. But
well, they go
because maybe
going safari.
You're educated like this, but if they were not. They still are just interested in the other one. So there's also a little bit of just normality in this. Just normal.
It's normal that they act this way. You mean?
Well, with normality, I mean that they are also just interested in the other one. Although they are really prejudiced in their opinions, but underneath that. There's just maybe an honest way of being an honest form of interest.
Yeah, we see it especially with the blonde woman later on in the bar. Of course, she seems to be attracted to the black men. Yeah. Koen, you had something else about this scene?
If you look at behind them, there's a sign, watch out for others. Is it also something to do with white and black people?
Yeah, that might be. It
looks a bit like you see a black man in the middle and two women that they're trying to run away or something. Like something really
I'm not
racist.
sure it's a black man.
I was not sure, but it looks something really racist also. But maybe it's one thing again.
Yeah. Well, then we come with the next one at the end, because at the end of the day, William is waiting outside for Ruby. The song starts playing. I'm not sure which song this exactly was. But at least this imagery I found quite nice again. Okay, like we got this all white wall, this ad with
Wrigley's,
three white sailors with white shirts, all white, everything white.
Yeah,
it was quite interesting imagery there.
My baby dearest darling by the Charms.
Okay, My baby dearest by the Charms. That's the song they play here.
Nice Cadillac, by the way.
Yeah. I'm not a car person, but this I like. If I would ever drive a car, which I don't, shocker, especially for American viewers, I think. But
no car. Where do you go? How do
you get around?
Exactly, yeah.
But if I would, I would definitely like to have an old timer.
It's nice.
But yeah, we see here that Ruby goes more or less undercover. That scene for William working as a waiter at the Chicago Lodge. Some phrasing here. We hear someone saying, "What of the rumors of defection following Hiram's death?" And another one says, "Mr. Lowe was certainly unexpected." So apparently there's some Mr. Lowe, but I think that we didn't hear about Mr. Lowe before, right?
But this is the thing with the episode. There's a lot of, like, the main story is Ruby, of course, and there's a lot of small things that you have to keep track, but actually they don't know any background more, which they didn't tell you. It's very hard to follow a bit.
They can connect it probably to the future episodes.
Yeah, but I hope they make the connection then good, because if it's so very subtly put, maybe you forget it already, you know?
Yeah, but I think like these kind of little things, it doesn't matter if you miss them, because it's just it's funny things they put in there. I think for people, if you see it, it's fun, like for people of us that dissect it to the shot more or less. But for people that don't pick up on it, probably they will see this guy pop up, and it's not like, oh, I should have known it was super important there. It's just something they throw in there, I think.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But so yeah, at the lodge, Ruby meets Christina, gives her some kind of a stone with a weird symbol, and this is she's supposed to hide it in the captain's office. Is this stone, which is of course the same symbol as we see later in the episode. Christina tells Ruby here, William is the rightful heir to the lodge. The captain tried to kill him and to take his seat, shot him in the back and dumped his body in the river like he was a piece of trash. So it's quite interesting thing when it comes to the backstory of, Christina/William.
Yeah.
Then Tick has a nightmare in this scene. He sees his ancestor again. This is what I talked about. I think this is the same actress as that we saw in the other shot.
Yeah.
Looks like it, yeah.
If you look at the hair and all the shape of the face.
Yeah.
But now we see Tick going up in flames. Letting Tick try to decipher the photos. Then we see here, here's the deciphering. Tick has that ring, and this initials spell out his name. So apparently when Christina gave him the ring, it was already always meant for him, this ring.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing they decided is this one, which is actually the symbol of the stone. That apparently spells protection, which is interesting because then I don't really get what the point is of putting that stone in the room of Lancaster, which seems to be the enemy of Christina. Why is there a stone that represents protection in his room?
Yeah, from this part for me was a bit. I don't know. I was so busy with the whole transformation thing that I didn't follow this part somehow. I don't know why, but I missed it a bit. Like it was because it was very. I don't know how it was for you guys. You guys really followed this part?
I had to play back this scene once because I had the same. I was really busy in my head with all the other storylines, and it was going quite a bit fast for me. So I watched it 2 times, this scene.
Yeah, exactly.
But
your question was, Bas? I'm sorry.
Then I find it weird that this stone with the same symbol as that we see here on the paper. We see here on the paper the same symbol as that was on the stone that Ruby had to put into the room of Lancaster.
Yeah.
And apparently under this stone, under this symbol is written the text protection. That's what they translated. So why do they put a stone with the text protection, which represents protection, so to say, in the room of Lancaster, since Lancaster seems to be the enemy of Christina? So I don't get why they would put a stone that represents protection into his room. So I can't figure that one out.
Are you sure it's 100% the same? Because here it looks like that eye thing in the middle is not fully closed. In the other scene, it looks like it was closed fully.
No.
Oh no, same. Also not up closed. Oh, that's weird. No, that's strange indeed.
So that's a question mark.
Maybe protection for the guy in the closet?
Yeah, that's what I was also thinking. Or maybe Christina is gonna go into the room and get Lancaster there, and then she's protected by the stone or something like that.
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah.
That might be, but By the way, we see here Letty here points at the photos and the text, and she says, "This is evil. It's the devil's tools. It's corrupting all of us," which is interesting, of course, because we do see more and more a decline in all the characters, more or less in their morality also, the further they get into this episode. So it's not that they're getting better, but Tick says it's not inherently evil. It's what we do with it that matters, what we want to do, protect ours. How can that be bad? And then Letty says, look at what your father did to protect you. So here we get a bit of, again, maybe a discussion of what is the right approach to this matter.
Yeah.
Of course, ongoing discussion, I think. So here we see that Ruby puts the stone in the drawer. And then we see what we here last week saw when we thought there was some kind of ventilation fan.
Some ghost or whatever we thought, or whatever. Yeah.
Now it turns out it's a closet, actually.
It's a real dude.
And we see this guy. Yeah, who is this guy? We hear later on, we hear that his name is Zidone, because one of the guys in the room says, has Zidone dropped the dime on the location of the loot he stole? And then Lancaster says he talks soon enough. The dead always do.
Nice. No.
Don't know. Don't know. We also hear in the scene Lancaster saying that he's asking what the status of Kentucky is. And then the guy answers that he tried to convince the sheriff that it's in their best interest to protect the Winthrop Observatory from possible vandals. So I have the feeling that we will, in some nearby episode, maybe the Winthrop Observatory, which is, of course, what was his name? Horatio Winthrop.
Yeah.
That we heard before about.
But the Winthrop Observatory, was that not?
Yeah, that was the Winthrop house where Letty lives.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
We didn't hear about the observatory yet, I think, at least.
No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here, this is what we talked about. I also missed this one the first time, actually. I saw it only the second time, but it's maybe not super clear to see here on the photo, but you can see that his torso has black skin all over. So, and there's stitches over here. So somehow he's transforming himself in a white guy, or he's transforming himself into a black guy. I think the latter, because of something else that Christina says later. But he
has them the same stitches as William had, or not?
Yeah, William had more scars. It's more like a ram kind of scar sign, but he really has black like cuts as if he has had transplants. If you look more careful at the picture, which this one doesn't show so good, but like over here, he really has as if he has a skin transplant, so to say.
Super weird.
Super weird. It's
this character is hard to
to know what he's up to.
Place. Yeah.
Here we see the scene with Montrose. One interesting thing I found here is in the end, and this is actually what put me on the path of what I talked about in the beginning, the locust ones, because I started Googling on Locusta Migratoria, and that is apparently the Latin name for locusts. And then I started finding this article about Kenya and this kind of stuff. Yeah, it was quite fun. Because that was the dance she named. We're going to perform a dance that has never been before performed again, and it's called Locusta Migratoria. That's what she said. Oh,
I found out what it has to do with Maria Callas.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I don't know if it's how the hell this would make sense, but it says now that I saw a locust attack warned off by Maria Callas singing Puccini at top volume, and apparently the animals went off. I don't understand. It makes no sense, but this is what I read.
But she was attacked or something by locusts?
Yeah, I was thinking, I don't know.
Okay.
This is very strange. 1 second, guys.
Yeah, you keep checking. I proceed in the meantime, okay?
Yeah, proceed. Yeah, I'm trying to find out.
So we see here Ruby and colleagues at the bar. Well, of course, she starts when she's outside. She starts morphing again. And then she sees her manager assault Tamara, and there's not much more to this scene, I think. Koen, you found it out for me?
I found the morphing scene.
That was creepy.
Yeah, creepy, but also in some way you could see the beauty of it, of loving your skin.
This was the final moment. Yeah.
Huh?
This was her moment of decision, more like you could say.
Yes, and the way it was directed and shot, it was showing in some way a lot of pride for me.
Yeah, true. That's true, because this is where she really makes her decision. You can see it already in the bar because she's very cranky with everybody.
Yeah.
She goes out and she crushes her bottle of serum, of course. So this is like done with it. This is her transforming moment, which makes sense because the scene that follows with Montrose. So this is for both. They're getting full circle, more or less.
Yeah, and also the way it was shot with the skin falling off and her real body, or in her real skin, showing up. I think the way it was shot and directed, I think it showed also a lot of power, strength, and pride. I think on being having a black skin.
Yeah.
It was also it was nice done how it was draping off her body, and that she actually stepped out of. It was lying on the floor, and she was stepping out of it. Yeah. Also, the clothes were left on the floor,
but also creepy at the same time. I found.
Yes. But, I found the creepy part was for more in the beginning, and with this scene, I could watch through that, and I could see really the symbolic of it. Symbolism. Yeah.
Koen, you made some progress in the meantime?
Yeah, so the thing that I found, if I type in like Maria Callas and I type in Locust, I found a guy on Twitter that he warded off an attack in India and New Delhi by locusts, and he has pictures of like thousands of them. And he says he warded it off by a song like a recording of Maria Callas. So maybe there is a thing that, or maybe Maria Callas had an opera piece that had to do with an invasion of animals, whatever can be.
Could be.
Like, or this is like a really very high pitch that these animals don't like, and Maria Callas was a person that can reach it. But I need to find out more. Maybe I'll come back to it next week.
For international movie friends, if you know, let us know in the comments.
It has to do with something, because otherwise we know that they don't just put random stuff in the show.
Exactly.
If someone can help us, please let us know, because I'm very curious now, actually.
Yeah, I think that's also something to do with Norma. Norma is this opera, Italian opera. There's a big story about it on Wikipedia.
I looked into it, but I could find nothing in what the musical or the opera is actually about. That I found that connects to the thematics of this episode. But maybe someone else knows. But I couldn't find anything that I thought that suits. But like you said, it must be something. It must be or Maria Callas or Norma or both. Must be some connection. Yeah. But let us know if you know. Then we move into this ballroom scene. Great scene, I think. Also beautifully shot. Really nicely. Like what you talked about with the transformation of Ruby. I also felt that really here that it was very well portrayed. How you saw him. Which I already felt. I also seen some people that had trouble relating or feeling for Montrose because of what he did in earlier episodes. But I always felt that he was a troubled man that was fighting his inner demons, and I didn't blame him for that, because I feel there's something going on with that guy, and he's just having trouble with things, coping with things.
True, you were really soon with seeing that. I was one of in the first two episodes, I thought, or maybe actually also the third episode, I was thinking he has a bad side, where he's on the side of working against the good guys or the main characters, solving the problems. But here it was all falling in place, and as you said, he was fighting his own demons, and I think beautifully done this scene where he's stepping over his own biggest barrier, I think.
the transformation, the butterfly and the caterpillar idea. You can really see her. He stands like a shy little man there in the corner, and you also the acting, of course, is great because you can see, like you said, you can see his pride and like, okay, I'm gonna embrace who I really am, and he just transforms completely within a second.
It was almost heartbreaking. Beautiful.
But Koen is. Koen is jumping on his chair.
Oh.
Koen?
Sorry, no. Let's continue first. I found out what happened with Marie Callas, but let's talk about it later because I also want to dive into the scene. So it's fine to continue, please, because I also really like the scene.
No, it was beautiful. You can see it here.
The only thing missing from the scene, actually, they could have even made it longer. It was. I think they showed in such a classy and respectful way how this man found himself, actually, I think. So that I really liked it, but I even felt like, oh, show me more, because it was such a like there are a lot of movies now and also before about people that try to find themselves and they struggle with their sexual preference and with themselves, and maybe they're not even in the right body and all of that stuff. And there are a lot of movies about it, but I never found it so subtly, beautifully done like in this scene. Actually, it was very nice, and it was very also easy to understand and to see the struggle. And without even knowing that much, we never saw him struggling with it before. We only know him as Montrose, and of course we saw that scene in the beginning of the first episode, I think. With Sammy, but we didn't see the struggle. We knew, of course, the alcohol and all of that, but we didn't know it was from this, maybe. And this, it was so subtly, nicely done, and for me, it was very, very nice.
Yeah, I think Yes, Sven?
I'm just thinking right now that they could make movies about the stories of these characters. Of the development of several characters. They could make a movie, like for example, this character is in the story they put now really short on the side a bit. It would have been beautiful to watch 2 hours about it.
Yeah, and then maybe less into the super. Maybe a bit what we talked about last time, Koen, when you said. Maybe that you would like to see it maybe sometimes a bit less fantastical and more
more realistic. The teams also Sven said that before, like we used to like more before we saw this, like movies about these subjects, like realistic, like, and it's harsher to watch because it's more, you see more the pain of certain people in this world, but that's why for me it's actually very impressive still how they take up these very big subjects and things, and the personal struggle of this man, and they show it, and it was, for me, this scene could have lasted longer, and I also would have loved to see a bit more of it, but the way they did it was also very nice and respectful. I liked it a lot.
It is that he was like
the moment exactly
a
completely different guy right away. Giving himself in, what you see later, almost like a Jesus figure, letting him be the salvation of himself, and the glitter falling down on him. It's beautiful.
And you know what is so good about this part is that he is an actor, because I've seen him in different movies and shows. He also has a scar, I think. He really has it himself on his face. And he looks a bit like a harsh man. Like he's not, that's why they fitted in the beginning of Montrose, the character so good, I think. But every time you saw him standing next to the pole in the club, and also before you saw him sitting with Sammy and the other drag queens in that room, and you had a lot of times a moment, he's gonna hate this. He's not that type of, homosexual man. So maybe he won't like it. He won't accept it. That's why also for him it changes so much. But every time you think that, you saw something in his face, a very small mimic that made you realize, he's actually not that bad for him to be here. He's okay, I think. And then it started also to grow. It was very nicely done. This small mimic.
That's why it's I think very well acted, because you can see.
Very good.
You can see, like you said, that he's not really in there. He's struggling, but he acts it in a way that he's not showing in his face some kind of disgust. But
exactly.
it's something else which you have to puzzle out yourself. What is he actually feeling? Because you can see that there's things happening within him.
Yeah, and you see this. It's not even a struggle, I think, anymore. It's more the change in him, and he's observing it, especially in that room with Sammy and when they start dressing up. And he's not. Yeah, you don't see a moment of disgust like, "Oh shit, this is too much for me," or "This is not how I am," or "This is too much for me," or something. It's just you see him changing a bit, and they do it so slowly, and that's why also the love scene for me, the love scene between him and Sammy was. Of course, it was strange because it was like he just was beat up really bad. But it was also different than normally they would put love scenes between two men. Yes. It was also somehow more.
Yeah.
I felt it more and more interesting to watch also, and it was something. Yeah,
there was a subtext to it. It was not just sex.
Also that, but also the director that made this episode did a very good job because also the love scene between Leti and Dick was also classy and nice. And it showed a lot of emotion in both moments, even if it was a completely different background, of course, for both the characters. But very impressive actually.
There was a lot of original emotion. Pretended and also original. As you say, maybe we have to name him the actor of Montrose.
Michael K. Williams.
Michael K. Williams, because we're talking a long time about him, and he also played a magnificent role in When They See Us.
Very impressive.
As a bit of the father that could not really protect his son, but
he plays in The Wire, of course, for 6 years. One of the best shows ever made.
Yeah, he's a respected actor already for quite some time. I think he was supposed
but
to be
never that much in front somehow. He was always a bit. Also, in The Wire, he's not the most famous character there, but very impressive guy. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Then we see here Christina comes into the house where Ruby also is. This is after she shed off her skin. Ruby says, "I've spent enough time on your side of the color line to know that the only thing that your white woman are disillusioned with is yourselves." And then Christina says, "You're right. We want to be you, and you want to be us." I found this an interesting line, especially when we refer to Lancaster earlier in this breakdown. Mm-hmm. We want to be you.
Yeah.
So I start to have the feeling that this might be the plan, like we also see, of course, in Get Out. Sven used to see, but the plan where they want to more or less.
See it, Sven. You have to see it. Sorry.
Where the white people want to have genetic tissue of the black people. I have the feeling that might be also involved in this, because otherwise I find it a bit weird lines, and especially if you see Lancaster, I think that might be at least for part of the bad guys. It might be the plan that they want to take them over somehow.
Yeah, it's quite realistic approach, I think, because if you see the signs on that thesis. Like the colleagues of Mrs. Davenport. They wanted to party on the south side. They wanted to dance with black men. They saw her dancing better than they could.
So it might be that we're steering into that direction in the upcoming episodes. Then Christina here tells, and that's of course what you also said before, Sven, what we already had foreshadowed. Christina tells Ruby, "You misunderstood William's invitation. It wasn't just to be white. It was an invitation to do whatever the fuck you want." She holds up the serum to Ruby, asking, "Who are you really?" Uninterrupted.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
There we go. And then we move into this little, cute scene. Ruby goes in as Dell to the manager and pretends to seduce him, but then ends up, assaulting him. We can see, I don't have the graphic pictures here, but assaulting him with a stiletto. This was a scene I really had to look away, even the second time.
Can imagine. I had
I enjoyed it actually.
As I said in the recap. in some way you really feel the revenge emotions, and that he needs the punishment.
Yeah.
But I think they did it extra long to let white people feel what torture means.
It might be, but I'm not. That's one of my things that I have with this episode. I'm not really behind this scene. It might give wrong ideas. It promotes in some way violence.
Mm.
So that's a bit what I for me I find that that's how you could how you could interpret this scene. So
what would you think about Inglourious Basterds then when they shoot like 50 holes in Hitler?
Yeah, but that's a whole different movie, because we talked about it before in some review for I think those kind of movies. It's all ridiculous. It is all ridiculous. It's about the Germans, the Nazis. This really gives messages. This series, messages that we have to take in, messages that they want us to take serious. So this is not just goofing around.
No, of course, but what is wrong with showing the hate and understanding the anger of a black woman, seeing after also what he did to like another black woman?
No, there's nothing wrong with that. But I doubt if you have to bring it to this level of aggressiveness to bring that across. For me, it was already clear that Ruby.
Okay, no, I understand you. But let's put it differently. If you see in a movie like 12 Years a Slave, you see also very long scene that Michael Fassbender's character uses the whip on what's the main character? The guy, good actor. Wood, that was his name.
I haven't seen the movie, so I can't also.
He played in Doctor Strange. The black man. No, the black man in Doctor Strange, the black actor.
I don't know his name.
It doesn't matter, whatever. Very good actor, but so he is being like slapped almost till death by the whip, which also goes way too far. But it shows you, okay, maybe it's different. Of course, it really shows you historical what happened maybe in those times.
Exactly. And for what I'm a bit afraid with here is advocating for paying with equal measurements. This is being done to us.
I understand you, and I understand your concern, and maybe you're also right. I see it differently. I see it more as a wake-up call, even for us white people in this moment now. This is how I see it, so maybe I'm completely wrong, but I see it more like, like I can enjoy the fact that in the scene, because it's like that guy really deserved it. Of course, it doesn't mean that we all like it should lead up to violence or whatever, but I think also that anger has to be portrayed in some way, maybe for us not to for people to get violence out of it, but maybe to understand how deep it goes with other people,
Yes, but again, I doubt if you need a scene like this to portray that. I think for me it was already clear. For me this went a bridge too far to portray that. I don't think you need to do it in this way. And
another point you can make out is like, okay, he made a mistake, a bad mistake, but he was not portrayed as somebody who was
as a villain.
Or that he was doing this all the time, or also true. I think the anger Ruby demonstrates to him was anger for a lot of
not necessarily
was frustration about a wider topic and more people and like civilization. She was angry about, and she put it all on him. And I think.
In a way, Sven, you're right. But if you think about it, Ruby, of course, really wanted this job at this location. So she thought she will be the first. She wanted to make sure she will be the first black woman of person of color to work in this warehouse. So, and she thought she maybe put herself in the shoes of Tamara, thinking, "Oh my God, this could have been me, and I would have ended up being like half raped by my boss." So maybe that's also part of the anger, of course.
Yeah, of course, I get that she's frustrated about it, and I get that. But like Sven also said, this guy is not the huge villain. He's a guy that pushes himself on a woman, which is horrible. But throughout the episode, he was not this. He was more or less part of the system, so to say.
What's meant that is it's more about the overall frustration, I think.
Exactly, and I get
you can doubt if that was a fair reaction, and that's the point Boss wants to make. And
I understand.
I can follow him in this because also when you say is he representing the system, at least he hired a black employee
no,
at the time
because of the corporation system, not because of him. It's because of the rules they made from up top, not from him. That's also what they said.
Okay.
But still, No, I agree with you both. I think you see it better maybe than I see it. So they could have gone so far, but maybe not with this. This man wasn't the right target to portray this violence, maybe.
And I think because we go into the series, this is a series that tells a lot and that has a lot of meaning, and it wants to be serious, very serious underlayers. And then I think you have to be also careful.
Exactly.
I think you have to be careful that you don't go overboard with the message. And this for me borders almost to advocating violence.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's also an historical link to how slaves were treated, and I think that has maybe lies under it, that there's a historical reference to this, because
maybe they missed I think they chose the wrong target, the wrong moment to show this kind of violence, because I understand you, Boss, but I don't think it, for me, it doesn't make me think that it will lead to violence, but it can, of course, maybe you're right.
Well, maybe they should have made it like that. It sometimes in this series made it into a monster.
That's the thing. Like the thing for me, I think is like I enjoyed it because these people deserve it. But in a way, if you think about it, of course, I think it was the wrong target. If they wanted to do something like this to really have a deeper meaning also for the violence and to make it somehow not like leading up to violence, creating violence, but actually showing the pain, then they should have maybe, they took the wrong.
Because I absolutely get the pain, and I absolutely get what it comes from within her. I get her motivations for doing this.
It was the wrong moment, maybe.
In the end, it feels for me like repaying violence with violence, and so then you just keep doing this with each other more or less, and that I think shouldn't be the message you send out.
You're right. No.
But during the scene we hear a song, and it's the song Bodak Yellow by Cardi B.
Yes.
Yeah, great song.
Yeah. And then we move going towards the end. We see here Tick and Letty in bed. Tick tells her here that he had a relationship with a Korean woman. A bath.
Not in bed.
Bath.
The bath.
We see William becoming Christina. Well, we figured this out last week with some help of people.
The CGI was sick, man. That was really, really,
really... it was good. This whole episode.
I liked really how the arm came out.
Oh my god!
The
CGI was very good with all of them till now, like with all of the metamorphosing. But this part was very creepy because it was really like you saw also the layers of skin going off. I was like, oh my god!
Yeah.
Crazy.
But so it turns out now, we know now who's the original. So apparently Christina is the original and William is we might have already figured because Christina is the one with the magic.
Yeah, and this was another reference to another diversity discussion we already discussed before, the position of women. So she also wanted to know how it is to be a man.
But that's so impressive in this show that they use the LGBT community, the not acceptance of that, or the struggle of men and women, the struggle of black versus white. It's very
Native Americans. Yeah.
Native Americans also, we forgot exactly. Yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah. Very cool. There at the end, we see that Tick deciphered some of the symbols. He runs to the phone and calls an international number. It's a very long number. So we might presume that this is the Korean girl, his girlfriend.
Actually, if it's a long number, it's like international. Like it's only two.
Well, it was super long. Yeah, I don't know, but
why can you do that? Like it's only 2 more digits though if you call.
No, but in the 50s, then you have to call in. I think you have to call in first to a number and then another number. So
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it was a Korean number, I think. I'm not 99% sure he was calling the Korean girl.
I told you I didn't get this somehow, but immediately. But did you guys recognize the voice? Was it the same voice as from the other episode?
I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently because she already knew. That's what Dick says. She already knew that this thing was happening.
Yeah, that was strange. Yeah.
Because as soon as he saw these letters, then he ran to the phone, and then he asked her what she is. What are you? He asked him, but then she hangs up the phone, and then we see that it's spelled out die.
That was nice.
Yeah.
What's that supposed to mean? Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah, someone dies. He dies.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Back for what he did with her in Korea, or I don't know. There's
5 episodes more to find out. But so that was the breakdown. Did we miss anything, guys?
Yes, I found out what Maria Callas. I finally found it out. So the thing is, the first reference is Metamorphosis is a book, novella by Kafka. And, the lady, the opera singer Maria Callas was a very big lady before, and she didn't have. Somehow it didn't work, or they didn't want to put her in stuff because she was too big. And she got in love with a very rich, I didn't know exactly because it was a long story, but I think a businessman. And she suddenly in one summer, she lost like half of her weight or whatever. So she didn't make the metamorphosis. I don't know how to pronounce it anymore. So that's why they also use Maria Callas. So it makes sense.
Okay.
The Twitter was just some guy, I think, that thinks this song will help against the Locusts. That had nothing to do with it. Nice.
Also fun theory.
Yeah, nice.
Okay, we also figured that one out. Anything else that we're missed or we're wondering about that maybe our viewers can help with?
I had one more thing. The only thing that was we could have seen the big reveal, of course, that William is what's her name?
Christina.
Sorry, Christina. The moment where William changes his outfit, you see only dresses in the closets.
Yeah, I was very carefully looking at that, but I couldn't figure out that it was dresses.
Yeah, there are only dresses and like shirts for women, like long shirts for women. Yeah.
Okay. Funny, because I already felt like this probably should give something away, but I didn't see really that it was women's clothes per se, but. Maybe then I didn't look right.
And one last thing is the reason why they use the stiletto for the scene we talked about a lot now.
Yeah.
Is the stiletto was in the 1950s a big thing for it. They marketed as power for feminism. So that's why all the chose.
Okay.
That's why.
All right. Good one.
My girlfriend is looking at me like, what the hell are you talking about? She's like, stilettos? Why are you talking about stilettos?
I would throw her shoes away soon, Koen. Before you know.
Oh, no. I don't want to think about that scene anymore, really.
She gets IDs now, but it's serious. I don't know if you watch it with her, but...
Oh, God.
All right, guys. I think this was our breakdown. We only have one part to go. We're going to do a little review of this episode, but we're going to close this breakdown first. For the people watching, our international movie friends, if we missed something or something that we're maybe wrong about or unsure about, discuss with us in the comments. We're really, really looking forward to talk with you there. If you're known on the channel, you already know that we also do reviews, recaps, and breakdowns each week of Lovecraft Country. If you're new, then you should subscribe now because that's what we do here. So that completes our breakdown of Lovecraft Country, episode 5. Guys, see you at the review.